Okay, down at the start for the Frank v Harry Cup. This is Senior Cox Fours, kindly sponsored by Gardner Leader. And in this we have Molesey Boat Club and the University of London Boat Club.
I have seen both of these crews race throughout the weekend, and I must say I can't call between them. They both looked extremely strong. Both very powerful crews here in this Senior Cox 4 event, both between Molesey and the University of London. And I think it was the University of London in their semi-final that went off at rate 47, which in a Cox 4 is unheard of, breaking some records. And it seems that they've done the same again, because they've actually just taken 3/4 the length off the end of the island over Molesey.
Well, that's very impressive indeed, isn't it? And as we go overhead again with our friend the drone, I was out on a launch yesterday, and I must admit this thing buzzed above my head, and I ducked, and the little pilot gave me a wry smile. But it's absolutely brilliant to have the drone here. You can see clearly from above just the amount of effort by the puddles that are being created here as these two boats make their way down through the meadows here. At that point there, they are probably about 25% of the way through the race, and it's length lead at the moment.
And look at that beautiful shot from above of the University of London crew. They are really, moving that boat together. And I think the way that they use the time up the slide is fantastic. They're really taking their time. Their stroke lady, they're really sort of extending out to as much, run as they can really get, which I think shifting them much further. Molesey are a lot more sort of lots of power, lots of pressure, but it's quite short and sharp, whereas University of London really sort of hooking the blades in and levering to give them that beautiful run that they've got there to get them into the lead.
And you can probably hear the wind is getting up here a bit. It's causing a bit of a rattle on our rather cheap door, to be honest with you. It's a length here, and they're not lightening up on the rate here, are they, Camilla?
No, absolutely not.
They're pretty determined to punch ahead. They've got just about clear water now, University of London. So the question is, Molesey Boat Club, can you put on some sort of charge here, have a bit of a push, and get back on terms? It is coming up to the halfway mark. There'll be a big cheer here. Molesey are having a push.
They've got overlap back on that University of London crew, and I think this will be the start of the big middle piece for Molesey. As I mentioned, they're quite strong, they're quite consistent. I think that they will plug away at the University of London, and I don't think they can get too complacent with a lead at this point.
Looking at those images, that does not look to me like complacency. That is 4 girls working extremely hard to fend off a serious challenge from the girls from Molesey Boat Club, and there is determination on those faces. Wow, look at that, absolutely fantastic. Now Molesey are pressing ahead, they're pushing on. With every stroke, I would suggest they are just creeping up on UL. So, question, have University of London gone too soon? Second question, have Molesey got something left in the tank?
And I think, in my opinion, Molesey probably have the advantage at the moment because their coxswain, who's steering the boat, can see the University of London. The UL Cox, as it stands, has got an open bit of water in front of her, but actually, the crew from Molesey, that Cox is going to be knowing exactly how far they need to push and when they need to push. So, we'll have to see how that pans out.
We've gone down to the start for the Elite Lightweight Pairs Final. This is Lee Rowing Club against Cambridge University Women's Boat Club. And this is for the Parkside Trophy, kindly sponsored by Portman Dental Care. Lee Rowing Club nearest to us, and Cambridge University Women's Boat Club on the far side. It's the Lee being worn by the umpire. You see the flag there just indicating to them, yes, you move over back to your station. as they head up towards the top of the island. You can see here Temple Island there just on your left-hand side, and now they are into the wooded area, the boomed part of the course, and it looks to me as if the Lee have got a lead at the moment over Cambridge University women.
And yeah, it is the crew of Rachel London, Maribel Flores, who are currently sitting just ahead of Cambridge. They are quite tight into the middle of the river, though, from what I can see. You know, the umpire is warning Lee to go back towards their part of the river, and I think, you know, it's still quite tight, still overlap between these two crews, and I think, you know, overlap in both senses of the word, in both blades and in boat length.
Yeah, this looks to be a very, very good scrap indeed. And we can see here that the Cambridge University women having a decent push there, just trying to squeeze every single bit out of those strokes.
I think Cambridge might have just popped ahead, actually.
Punching some water past them, they may well have done. You might be right there.
I think that these two crews, Lee, you know, normally contests in the pairs events. They had a pair entered into the elite coxers pairs as well. They've got a pair into the elite lightweights. They have, you know, a strong presence in, you know, the small boats within the rowing scene. So a lot across the board, and, you know, they're making a good race of this. You know, still both reasonably tight at this stage in the race. But from what we can see, I think it's Cambridge who might have just poked out in front.
Well, you'd expect this with finals. Really, really close stuff. You look, you look at these two crews, and they both mean business. The Lee digging deep, fighting back. Cambridge rating 33, and the Lee nearest to us punching away. They're also rating 33, so they are stroke for stroke, not much to choose between them. I'm reminded that if you wish to know the results, just go to the website hwr.org.uk. Please do go there. There's a link through to the results page. You can see the final results. The result of the previous race was that Molesey Boat Club were unable to come back there on the University of London.
Oh, wow.
And there we have it. So Regatta results.
And Lee have pushed back out in front.
And that is a fantastic bit of rowing, isn't it? Look
That
at that.
is remarkable. This is the best kind of races when the lead changes a couple of times. You know, they're still within half a length of one another with, you know, 700 metres to go.
And they're going through the enclosures now, and if we can see here as they go past us, Cambridge now having a push, and they don't want to let each other go. They do not want to shake, well, they want to try and shake each other off, but yeah, fantastic stuff. Big shouts from the bank encouraging them, and this is another cracking race.
I think that big Cambridge push through the centre really has brought them back onto terms with Lee. And the beauty of these small boats, as I say again, you know, so much can change in such a short period of time. And, you know, if you have the ability to sort of snap into that and say, look, we're going to go, it just takes that one other person to respond with you, and big things can happen. And Cambridge have just demonstrated that. You know, they've brought themselves back onto terms with Lee, and I think this race is going to go right through to the line.
It looks to me as if Cambridge have had a push there. You can see how the wind there is just affecting the blade height, and they were beginning to sky there the effect of a bit of wind. There's various points on this course where the wind can catch you and blow across, where there's gaps, particularly on the Buckinghamshire station with the trees, and it looks as if it's Cambridge that have just managed to break ahead, but it's not much in it. There's only about half a length. So Lee, have you got something left? Can you push back? Can you fight back at this Cambridge crew?
And they have enough room to do it. You know, they have enough time. They're also close enough to take the win, but it's whether they've got that really good and effective wind to be able to do that together to pull themselves back up with the Cambridge crew. And this lead has been changing so many times down the course, it wouldn't surprise me if they did. And oh gosh, that's a shame. That's a real shame.
The Lee there they were looking across to see where their opponents were, but also I saw the bow girl have a glance and see how close she was to the booms, and then the next thing you know, missed a stroke, and it was a bit of a shipwreck. Did well there to retain the blade, but won't be happy. They were half a length down at that point. So there you go. It looks as if Cambridge will paddle on and win that one. We've got images here overhead of the Intermediate Academic Cox Fours, this for the Cathy Cruikshank Trophy. And we've got Glasgow University and University of London, the Scots against the Londoners. Who do you fancy here?
Wow, we saw that really strong four from the University of London earlier in the Senior Cox Fours. And it looks to me, obviously, we've got University of London again on the Buckinghamshire station who have taken the early lead. And if I was to put my money on anyone, I think it would probably be the guys in purple from the University of London. But Glasgow University have had a great season. They, did really well at the Scottish University Championships. They had a great Bucks Regatta. I think, they've done very well to get to the final. There's been some really good crews that they've come up against. They beat Manchester University in the semi-final, and they beat Leeds in the quarter-final. And and they've come through a really big round. There's a lot of crews in this Intermediate Academic Cox Fours. Over 20 crews that will have time trialled, and to get to the final two, absolutely fantastic for both of these crews in such a large event. And University of London just there at the moment, ahead by, I think they've just broken clear water by the looks of things.
Yeah, they've certainly got out the blocks quicker here. They look to be just a bit more smoother than the Glaswegians. Heard that term before?
The Glaswegians, well, coming from Scotland, living in Scotland. No one said I came from Scotland, that's clearly not true. But currently living in Scotland, I come across the Ouijies.
The Ouijies.
Quite a lot.
Well, these Ouijies here are having a good go. They're desperately trying to get back on terms, but there looks to be clear water between the two. So that indicates there's over a length lead that the University of London, UL, have over their competitors. And once again, you can see the overhead shot. You can see the puddles being thrown away as they propel themselves down the course and up towards the finish line, which is at Remenham Club. Plenty of people down there enjoying this finals day, Henley Women's Regatta 2016.
Glasgow are holding the University of London though, they're not increasing in speed. I think both of the boat speeds are quite evenly matched through this centre part of the race. London haven't managed to gain any more on Glasgow. Glasgow have managed to hold the position that they were in off the end of the island. So I think, if Glasgow have got something in the tank to give, they could manage to sort of, push on and potentially reduce that margin down a bit. I don't know.
You can see here from this shot the Cox lying down at the front of the boat here, looking down the course, but also giving calls. And although Coxes can't see what their crew's doing because they're in front of them, but they can feel what's happening behind them. And when they ask for a push or just ask for the rate to go up, they can feel the members of the crew responding to those calls. So they are a massive part of these crews. And it is University of London that continue to lead here over Glasgow.
And they're still holding it, sort of, just over a length and a quarter, I'd say. The University of London over on the Buckinghamshire station.
Well, as we saw in the previous race, things can happen. Just a split second lack of concentration, and it could be all over.
And I've just seen a great shot there of the University of London Senior Cox Four cheering on their counterparts in the academic Cox Four, which was absolutely fantastic. I don't know if we caught that on the live stream, but it was brilliant and great to see that camaraderie. And they could be on here for a double win in the fours in senior and academic, which would be absolutely brilliant form from the University of London.
They're looking very, very tidy there as they make their way down towards the finish of the Intermediate Academic Cox Fours for the Cathy Cruikshank Trophy. And we'll see them now heading up towards the finish line. They've got a couple of lengths to lead now, so I don't think Glasgow are going to make any impression here as they're heading up towards the finish line.
That was a really strong finish by the University